welcome to episode, I suppose, 15 of the Crafty Chat podcast. Happy June! Because I haven't podcasted in June yet, even though it's now the 8th of June. It's voting day in the UK, so I hope you voted. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, because that's none of my business. I'm wearing a lot of red on my head. That's all I'm going to say. I voted via postal vote. I voted like 3 weeks ago. So it's weird how long it's taken to get here. It's very bizarre. Anyway, I haven't spoken yet this morning. Probably should have done some singing in the shower. Got that morning voice. Even though it's 11:15. But yes, I hope you're all sat there with your tea. I am in my crafty mug. Don't have my glasses on, so it's going to be difficult to see if something's in focus, but that is. Which was hand painted for me by one of my very good friends. Julia, thank you. Best present I've ever received. Or up there. Up there. Welcome, as I've already said, if you're new to the Corner of Craft and my crafty chats. Hi, Hannah, living in Frankfurt, Germany. It's a little bit sunny today, which is exciting because we've had a couple of days of storm and rain, which is less exciting. But I am from Britain, hence me talking about the election. Thank you to all of you who have come back yet again, that you find me tolerable, if not entertaining, tolerable enough to spend around 45 minutes plus with you. Although saying that, it's probably not going to happen this time. I'm a little light on the knitting. Just been a bit uninspired. Oh well. Anyway, if you'd like to follow me on social media, I have it. All the information is there, and links can be found in the description box below this video. And as well as those links, you will also find a link to my Ravelry group, which is the Crafty Chat podcast group. I suppose I should have just made it the Corner of Craft group. I didn't really think that through. I also should have just called this the Corner of Craft podcast, because now people don't know what to introduce me as if I'm talking about on other people's podcasts. It's Hannah of the Crafty Chat podcast, or Hannah of the Corner of Craft and the Crafty Chat podcast, or whatever. Call me what you like. I'll take it. I'll take it. But over there in our Ravelry group is my Ravelry group. Ours. We can share. Is a list of all of the notes that you may want from this podcast. And I do extensive notes. I take around the same length of time it takes me to film a podcast I take doing podcast notes. So I hope you all read and appreciate them. Don't worry, I don't mind if you don't. Also over in the podcast Ravelry group is the first Cal I have ever hosted. I'm co-hosting, I suppose I should say. I'm co-hosting the Keep Knitting Kitten Cal with Becky of the Soprano Knits on Ravelry and Instagram, and the host of the Stringing It Together podcast. So I hope that you join us. It's a Stephen West knit along. You knit a Stephen West pattern. If you don't know who Stephen West is, ooh, you're missing out. He does good patterns, does our Stephen. And while I haven't received any prizes in the post, if you'd like to donate a prize, feel free to message either Becky or myself and we can arrange that. I have been making a prize myself for you, and I was going to talk about this later because I forgot to write it in my podcast notes until I was just about to start filming, and then I was, oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. I have one of the chatter threads. Becky has the other chatter thread, obviously, and the finished objects thread is also over in Becky's group. So feel free to pop on over there to post your finished objects. Also, you get like an extra prize. Not an extra prize. You get an extra chance of winning a prize. Because Becky and I are going to choose our favourite... well, basically, when you finished your object, you need to pose in your most Stephen West-like photo pose. And Becky and I will choose our favourites from that. Anyway. Oh. What is this new yarn, I hear you ask? Oh, whose is that label, I hear you ask? I dyed yarn for the first time, so that's super exciting. I used the same techniques for both of them, but this one went in dry and this one went in wet. So they've taken dye differently. This one's great. It's got a lot of higher contrast. I called them both Merlot, or Merlot, I suppose if I'm pronouncing Merlot. After the red wine. Oh, gonna hide my eyes. There we go. It's a bit more muted than this. It's got a little bit of purple in. I wanted the whole thing to be purple with a bit of black, basically, but I've only bought primary colours. I know, I wanted like different levels of purple, so I dyed some of it red and then some of it blue, and then I put some purple on and put some black on. I know, I put some black on, then I put some purple on, and like put it in skeined up and got it out and reskeined it and put it back in, and then got it out and reskeined it and put it back in, and burnt my hands. I did have gloves on, but they're not like heat resistant gloves. But yeah, I dyed yarn. So there's a little bit of purple in it, like here. But it's predominantly just this kind of blackcurranty kind of colour. So I've called, as I said, I've called it Merlot. It's about 400 meters per 100 grams, I think. Like, I bought this yarn in January. That's how long I've been planning to dye yarn, and I just haven't. It's 75-25 superwash wool and nylon. I don't think it's merino, which is really funny that when I keep saying merino, because I call my boyfriend Marino, as in with an A, because his name is Mario, and the phone auto-corrected it once to Marino, and it made me laugh. It's not as soft as some of the other hand-dyed skeins that I've received, but that's because I didn't want to get like super expensive yarn and then be like, oh, I've ruined it. So I got a little bit cheaper yarn, but it feels slightly softer than it feels a little bit softer than like a Rayé yarn or an opal or something like that. But it's like along the same line, so I think it'll make a killer pair of socks. So I'm donating this to the Keep Knitting Kitten Cal. So you could be in a chance for winning this skein, my very first skein of dyed yarn. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one. I should have dyed up 3 because this would have made a beautiful jumper, and there's no way I'm going to ever be able to redo this. Oh well, you're living, you learn. But yeah, I just wanted to put my own tag on it to make it look fancy. No, I'm not selling yarn. Don't panic. Well, not yet anyway. Still very new. But I just really enjoyed the process. It was fun. Clearly, it just took Mario going away for a week, which is what he's done this week. He went away, well, it's not even a week, it's like 3 days, on a school trip, because he's a teacher. It just took him leaving me, which sounds really dramatic, for me to get the courage up to dye yarn. First time me trying the tea. I suppose we'll talk about tea now, apparently. It's pucker tea, wild apple and cinnamon. I had a lovely lady called Katie send me a box of tricks. I've put all the snacks away, so I don't have any with me. But she also gave me 2 boxes of tea. One of them was a Twinings green tea with salted caramel, which is real nice. I am a fan of that one. And then this one, the pucker, wild cinnamon, what was it? Wild cinnamon, wild apple and cinnamon with ginger. Ooh, that is a good tea. Good choice, Katie. Anyway, she also sent me some stitch markers and progress keepers. Let's do this. Super cute. We've got a bunny. We've got a little bird. We have a playing card and a moustache. My friend and I are a bit obsessed with moustaches before the moustache craze went big. So I do appreciate a little moustache. And she does have an Etsy shop if you're interested. It is called, it is etsy.com/Katie Handmade with Love UK. I'll put it on the screen so you can see it. If you have the desire to get some really cute, they're really well made. 10 out of 10. Love a bit of jewellery making. Not done that in a while, she says, after making... I made a necklace earlier this week, so that was foolish on my part. Anyway, let's get into the knitting. Finished things. I got a few. We got the Taunus Socks, which colour coordinate beautifully with me. This is a sock pattern by Becky Sorensen, Becky of the String It Together podcast. I test knit it for her. And also the New Depths heel. I blocked socks for the first time. Yeah. She asked for them blocked, so I obliged. Good little test knitter me. And yeah, I also test knit the new heel. I have a feeling the 15% off has ended now. But go and check out her Instagram. I'll put it on the screen if it hasn't, but I'm pretty sure it has. Yes, it's a really easy pattern. It's fun to do. It's got like pearl detail. It's a fun little triangle shape. And the heel is great for people like me who have ridiculously high arches in their feet, or a high instep, depending how you say it. Because I do have a really high arch. So I find that things like the Fish Lips Kiss heel don't necessarily always fit my feet that well, just because I have such a high arch, it kind of slides off. Whereas these are like a cuddle on my feet. I think I might wear them today. That's meant to get warm, but it never gets warm in my flat. So maybe I'll just risk it for a chocolate biscuit. The yarn I used is Fendita Sockenwolle, which is just yarn you can get in Aldi here in Germany, in the colour 202. It's just like a standard, relatively thin 4-ply yarn. The pattern does recommend a 2mm needle, but I know that that won't work for me because I also know that Becky's a looser knitter than me. So I used a 2.25mm needle. I was worried that I didn't get gauge because the bad little test knitter in me didn't swatch, and I definitely should have done. But they fit my feet, and that's all that matters. Did a 1x1 twisted rib, although on the second sock, this is the second sock, after a couple of rounds, I got a bit bored doing the twisted rib. The knit stitch, wonderful. Purl stitch, hate it. So I twisted the knit stitch and then just did a standard purl stitch. But it does still look beautiful. It does still look beautiful. This is a great pattern for people that are relatively new to knitting socks but have like mastered the basic vanilla. It comes with both written patterns and a chart, so if you're like me and you're not used to using charts, you can like reference the both. Also, the chart is very clear and it's well obvious what you have to do. I managed to knit the second sock, so I went to Munich last weekend before last. And we had a car journey on the way back, and I was just above the gusset increases, because that's how it makes the nice deep heel, because it's a short row heel with a gusset increase and decrease. So I was just above the increase, so I was basically here, and by that evening I had finished the toe. Because the pattern's like broken down, so it's like do this triangle and then knit all the way around, then do this triangle, and it's like you just think, fine, I'll just do the next triangle and then I can stop and it's easy to pick up. Fine, I'll just do the next triangle, and then you just tell yourself that the whole time. When I knit the first sock, I had done the cuff and then I just knit the whole of the leg in a day, which doesn't sound that impressive anymore. Oh, and the heel. And I had really bad hand cramps, so I had to put it down. So, finished whip. I do recommend it. It's a fun pattern. And if you have already bought the pattern, be sure to check out the errata that Becky has put out, because she realised that doing the heel in a contrasting colour made it do funny things, but she's fixed it now. So, because she's super clever and can fix things like that, whereas I would just be like, what's happened? Why does my heel look weird? But she fixed it because she's a genius. Yeah, super easy heel, fits much better for me. With a high arch, much recommend. Make the sock. Basically, that's all I'm just gonna say. I'm gonna stop preaching about it because I spoke about it a lot last week. Or last podcast, which seems like so long ago. I know my last podcast was only 2 weeks ago, but it seems like it was so much longer ago. Okay, so the next two of my finished things can't actually show you, because I packaged them up and sent them to my friend for her birthday. But I finished the squirrel mitt that I was making, and I also made her a little narwhal. I'll put like a picture in so you can see. The narwhal is a pattern by Mohu Mohu, I think. I was bought the kit for when I was a bridesmaid at my friend's wedding. And so I just used some different colour yarn and different colour felt and different colour eyes and made one. And yeah. Squirrel mitts are a fun pattern that I've just taken to knitting during Dungeons and Dragons when I play, because it's really easy to follow both the pattern and what's going on. It's a pattern by Green Lambkin Yarns. Is she Green Lambkin Designs? I don't think so. I think she's just doing Green Lambkin Yarns. It's her designer name. And I made, the colour you can see is Rico Baby Classic DK, and it's number 40. And it's completely synthetic, and I hadn't realised that when I bought it. But they're still going to be warm and soft. Luckily she's not a yarn snob. I hope. Finally, I did my afterthought heel socks. Talked about these last time. I finished all of my finished objects so quickly. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have loads to talk about, and then I didn't cast anything else on. I'm the worst. All because I can't be bothered to trek up those steps. And also I did have guests, so I couldn't knit the whole time. So I wanted to give afterthought heels a whirl. So I did. And I asked in my last podcast if I could knit extra rounds before I started decreasing. People said, yes, of course you can. Where did you think you could? So I did 5 rounds before I started decreasing every other round, just like I would do a wedge toe. 60 stitches, 2.5mm needle. I had these going at the same time as my Taunus socks, so these were like my, feel a bit car sick now, don't want to look at the chart anymore, socks. And they match. This is my accomplishment of the day. I made them match. To the point where even the toes have a little bit of grey on them, although one has a little bit less grey than the other, but we don't live in a perfect world. My only problem with my socks is that I cut the heel in the wrong place. I think I was just a little bit out. They fit still, they're just a little snug on the foot and the heel. But like, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna give this another go. So the yarn I used was gifted to me by a lovely subscriber, so thank you very much. And it's Austermann Step, and it's colour 259, which is called Sommerrose, like summer pinks. Sorry if you can hear the cathedral bells. And then the heel is Sommerrodel, oh my goodness, Wollerodel, which is a yarn shop here in Germany. It is their Sport und Strumpfwolle in colour 035. It's just a dark grey. So yeah, I'm a little bit proud of these. Super easy to do. I used Kirby Werby's tutorial. Kirby Werby's Afterthought heel. It's a video that's done by this delightful lady. And it was fun to do. So I think I'm going to be doing more of these. And I like having just a contrasting heel and not contrasting everything else. So yeah, these are pairs, wait for it, 10 and 11 in my Boxo socks, which is a knit along run by Kristen of Villenvine Yarns and the Yarngasm podcast. How on earth have I managed to knit 11 pairs of socks when it's only bloody June? And that's not counting the pairs of socks I've knit for Mario either. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, so there are my finished things. You know how I said this wasn't going to... sitting cross-legged. You know how I said this wasn't going to be a long podcast? We're now like 20 minutes in. That's ridiculous. Oh well. So now we're moving on to whips and hoes, and I have no half objects for you. Sorry. But I do have a few works in progress. Now, I know some people don't like people showing their blanket all the time because it's just like, I don't talk about the yarn itself. I haven't showed it in about 4 weeks. I haven't showed this since the 13th of April. So It's been almost 2 months, so I think I can treat you. This is my Cozy Memories blanket. This is a blanket, the pattern I'm following anyway, is the Coziest Memories. It's by Kemper Wray of Junk Yarn. Last time you saw it, it was here. So I've added these 3 squares. Like, you can tell I've not knit on this much if it's been 2 months since I've showed you. Then I've knit, ooh, these 7 squares. I've knit 10 squares, and I knit these all this past week. Not much to say. I followed the pattern exactly, except for the fact I used 2.5mm needles instead of 2.75. I used a nice variety of yarns that I got minis from people. Ooh. Except for this one, which is from my exploration station. And this, oh no, these are all minis that I got. These are all minis that I've got. So yeah, I am really enjoying knitting this at the minute, even though I was knitting it yesterday. I was just like, oh, a bit warm. Don't know why it's so warm. I had a bloody blanket on my lap, didn't I? That's why it's warm. Didn't think it through. So yeah, I'm excited to see this grow. I was on track for doing 1 line a month, and then I got off track, so now I'm only on row 5, and it's June. Oh, I said April. It's not April. I like feeling all the different feels of the yarn. Obviously, my favourite ones are the super soft ones. Where's my ultimate fave? This one. I don't know who sent me this, but my goodness, this yarn is so soft. Yeah. The softest thing ever. And this is also really soft. That's my Das Monscharf yarn. So yeah, I'm really enjoying knitting this at the minute. Because I'm feeling quite uninspired about all the other things. And I know that I said last week, or last time, that I wanted to cast on loads of sweaters and jumpers and blah, blah, blah. I've put on quite a bit of weight in quite a short space of time. Well, not quite a bit. I've put on a stone since April, end of March. April, end of March. So what's that? April, May, June, 3 months, put on a stone, which is 14 pounds, which is around 7 kilos, just over. And last summer I lost 2 stone, which is 28 pounds, which is around 14 kilos, approx. So I have gained back half the weight that I lost, and it's just kind of making me feel a bit crap, because I can't seem to get back into the swing of things. And especially with the weather being crap this week, the last thing I want to do is any exercise. Because I just get really bored of exercise DVDs. Because I just do. I don't feel encouraged when they shout encouraging things. I'm just like, shut up, you're shouting this at a camera, you're not shouting this at me. So when I move back to the UK next month, I will be sure to join a gym and get swimming or something. So yeah, that's my Cozy Memories blanket that went off on a tangent. Then we have Mario's socks. I'm making him socks. I like to do this periodically. So the reason that the leg is so short is because I was going to do my standard heel flap and gusset. Then I got there and I was just like, can I be bothered to do all those decreases? No. So I just did a fish lips kiss heel, which is also why, because I'd already cut the yarn. Otherwise, I would have done a few more rounds, increased, done the new depths heel, but I'd already cut the yarn. I can be able to start it, and I'd already done a row of the red. I was being lazy. So I just did a fish lips kiss heel because, but I think next time I'll do a new depths heel, next time I knit him socks. I don't know how this is going to fit him, but he doesn't have high arches. He's got quite flat feet. Sounds really rude. But I thought I'll give it a go. Mix it up a bit. See what he prefers. So this is also Sockenwolle from Fendita. I said fun. Whew, so much German. And this is colour 1, 2, 3. And they come in a pack of 4 yarns, and you get double pointed needles in with them, and it's £5.99. So I quite like using this for Mario socks because he never wears slippers. So I did German twisted cast on. I'm using 72 stitches on a 2.5mm needle. German twisted cast on. The heels, cuffs and toes are going to be matching my Taunus socks. So they're the leftovers from that. And yeah. Got a nice little progress keeper on here that I got from Bernadette of the Wet Coast Walls podcast. And yeah, it's just a quite nice, easy knit. So I posted a picture on Instagram to say that I'm teaching Mario to knit, and everyone was just like, oh, his stitches are very neat and even. My sister and her boyfriend came to visit at the weekend, and we had 20 minutes to kill whilst we waited for the the tram that you get on and drink cider on. So we sat waiting in the sunshine, and I whipped out my knitting, as one does when they want to kill a bit of time but don't want to twiddle their thumbs. And Maria said, oh, let's see what all this knitting malarkey's about then. Show us how it's done. So I showed him how it's done, and he knit a full row. You can quite kind of see it. So these 2 stitches here were his first 2, and then he finished the rest of the row. But he got much more even and neater. So I think he'd make quite a good knitter, but I doubt he'll take it up full time. So yeah, he's just got a couple of looser stitches in his sock, but I don't think it'll be that bad. I think he'll look down at it and be like, oh, I knitted those. So yeah, I taught my boyfriend to knit. I don't know, I'm just not feeling like knitting on these that much though. I don't know if it's just because I'm a selfish knitter and I like knitting for myself. I don't know, I'm not very inspired by them. And also I know he's got really big feet. That's the other downside of not doing gusseting decreases, is that it makes the foot seem so much longer. But yeah, I'll be fine. I can knit them during Dungeons and Dragons on Sunday. I've got to make sure that I measure these on his feet when he gets back tomorrow. Not that I'm anywhere near the toe yet, but yeah, that is, why am I knitting right now? That is terrible timing. I'm just gonna finish this row. I need to go to the cinema or something and get some cinema knitting in. That's always a good shout. I love a bit of cinema knitting. Oh yeah, I also tried to knit on these when drinking on Friday. And I kept dropping stitches, which is fine because I managed to pick them up with no problem. Then I looked at it. I think I was here on Saturday. Oh no, maybe I didn't knit the pet, doesn't matter. I looked at it and I was just like, there's a big gaping hole in that. So then I counted my stitches on my needle. Not only had I picked up all the stitches that I needed to, I picked up an extra one. So I had a huge gaping hole. So I had to rip it out and pick them up because I couldn't pull the tink back. Basically I turned into my mother for a minute, because when my mum makes a mistake, she doesn't tink back. The needles come out, she rips it all out, she picks it up with a smaller size needle and just knits it back. It's ridiculous. She also doesn't just like drop. I tried to drop it down and sort it out, but then it got worse. So I fixed it. But yeah. Hannah, when will you learn not to knit when you're drunk? Never. It's because I usually feel a bit, I don't know, I feel a bit awkward when I'm in a group situation. So if I'm sat in a group and all of my group disappear, which is what happened on Friday because they all went to buy more wine and Maria got my wine for me. I just whipped my knitting out and just sat there until someone joined me. Then I had a lovely chat in German with one of Maria's colleagues, who said that my German's not that bad, so that filled me with confidence. Anyway, we're getting a little bit into chatter that isn't relevant, like to the point where I wasn't even going to chat about it. Finally, my final whip, because you know you can't just have 2. Although I've been very controlled with the casting on-ness of life. My final whip is a market bag. So I bought this yarn quite a while ago to try making a pair of cotton socks, and I cast them on and started knitting them and thought, I don't really like how this is knitting up. Didn't have much stretch and it was hard on my hands and whatnot. So then I knew that Nikki of Tea Impossibilities and Amy of the Stranded podcast, I knew that they'd both knit a market bag, and I thought, might have to do a bit of stalking there to see what market bag they made, and I found it. So I am knitting the Grrlfriend, because it's 2 R's, Girlfriend Market Bag by Laura Spradlin. Blah, blah. And I messed up my starting round because I accidentally twisted my thumbnails. So you start off doing like a magic circle similar to, ooh, how fun that looks. Similar to, but you can see me the mistake. Similar to crochet, because you start with a crochet hook, and you slide them off and pick them up on double points, then you knit round and round. It's a free pan. Then you knit round and round and round, increasing periodically. And I accidentally twisted my double points and hadn't noticed, and then thought, whatever, it's the bottom of a bag. So it's looking a little bit like a hairnet right now, which is fine. Also, I messed up somewhere on the first couple of rows. Don't know if I'm going to be able to accurately show this. Nope. So basically, all the eyelets run real nicely, like that, like, and then the last two go boop. So I don't know what I messed up, but something. But once again, bottom of a bag, it's fine. So yeah, quite enjoying knitting this. Something a bit different. Kind of want to make all of them in all of the colours and gift them to all of the people, but I say this now and I know I'll get bored. I'm using my nice little progress keeper here, which was from Claire of the Beautiful Things podcast, and just Beautiful Things full stop. And it's a really easy pattern for, even for beginners, once you've got past the cast on. The cast on is the difficult bit. I had never done this cast on before. This is a little bit less social to knit than a pair of socks. I've never done this cast on before, but I used Very Pink Knits tutorial. She has great knitting tutorials. This is one reason I don't do knitting tutorials, because hers are so good. Yeah, so I used her tutorials. I have steeped my tea for far too long. It said for up to 15 minutes, which is a ridiculous length of time, and I've just done it for like too long. The yarn I'm using, which has a knot coming up. Oh, I hate, don't you hate when companies do that? Don't you hate when they tie a knot? God, sorry. It's Meilenweit Lana Grossa. It's probably Grossa, we've discussed this before. It's Solo Coton, Sombrero. Sombrero. 87% cotton, 13% polyester. The colorway is 3001. Boop to boop. So yeah, it's real soft. I kind of want to top out of this because it's just so soft. It's a fingering weight yarn. The pattern is around 360 meters. The pattern calls for, or any weight of yarn really. I'm meant to be knitting this on a US size 10, which I don't know what that is in millimeters because the pattern is only in US sizes. But the largest circular needles I have are 5mm, which is a US size 8. So it's just going to be a bit of a smaller bag, which is fine. But if I want to knit more of these, and I might knit them out of double knit, I will have to invest in a bigger set of needles. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying this knit. It works up quickly, it's quite fun. It's real soft. I like the fun colours. I'm also enjoying the fact it looks a little like a hairnet. Kind of want to make one of those, you know, the style that, like, you know, ladies wore back in the day. It's just like floom, floom, and they tuck their curls up in it. I think that would look ace. But yeah, that's it. Those are all my works in progress. I talked last week about 3 potential future knits, and I was really hoping I'd get one cast on. And then my sister and her boyfriend came to visit. And then, well, first of all, we went away for a few days. And we got back on the Sunday, and then they came to visit. And to be fair, I had the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I have no excuse. But yeah, so then they came to visit, and so we did all the touristy things. And then I just didn't really feel inspired to cast anything else on. Because if you don't feel very confident about like your body size and such, then you don't really want to cast on a jumper. Because, well, I'm worried that 1, I don't have enough yarn, 2, that it won't fit, you know, that kind of thing. So now I'm going to move on to podcast recommendations as I knit on Mary's sock. I only have one, and I believe I haven't spoken about her before. It's Squirrel Pie Productions. Tommy, Squirrel Pie. I have only recently started watching her podcast because for a while I just was very behind on podcasts and was happy with the ones that I was watching. Not that I'm not happy with the ones that I'm watching, but I am on top of it enough to be able to introduce some more. So I started watching her podcast and she's so cute. She's a lot of fun. She also sews and she makes amazing dresses, which is, you know, a little bit awe-inspiring. Also, her exploration station and my exploration station are like fraternal twins. They're like matchy colours, but they don't look exactly the same. It's really cute. I really like it. So if at any point, Tommy, we're going to meet up, we need to both wear our explo stations. We'll be like, hey, twinsies! What is this one piece of hair doing? It's all my baby hairs. I thought that me growing out my hair would stop it, but no, it's because my hair isn't broken. Like a lot of people used to think, well, your hair's so damaged. It's not. I naturally frizzy hair. Well, your hair's breaking off. I don't. It's baby hairs. My hairdresser has told me, and I trust it. But yeah, went to Munich. Moving on to life stuff now. We went to Munich, and that was a lot of fun. We went to go to Neuschwanstein, and then the queue was so long, and we just decided, let's just take pictures and drive on to Munich and have a good time there instead. I did a vlog about it, which, if you're interested, feel free to check that out. Went and visited a couple of yarn shops. I'm the worst yarn shopper. Let me explain. I go into yarn shops and I buy nothing because I am so overwhelmed by the choice and such. I can only buy yarn if I have a project in mind, and I kind of hate that about myself. It's really frustrating because I want to be able to buy yarn without a project in mind, so I can just get more yarn, but that's not how the brain works. No siree. So that's really annoying for me. So I didn't actually buy any yarn, but looked for a while in yarn shops. Very frustrating. I had a lovely time, all the same. The weather was glorious. We drove back early on the Sunday, and when we got out the car, it was like 12:30, like midday. When we got out the nice air-conditioned car, whew, it was like stepping off an aeroplane in a different country. Just the heat hits you like a slap around the face. And then for the next couple of days it got up to 34 degrees, which is ridiculous. Then we had a big thunderstorm and it cooled down a little bit. But yeah, then my sister and her boyfriend came to visit. We had a lot of fun, we had a good time, just did like standard touristy things. Played a few board games, discussed Dungeons and Dragons quite a bit because that is what we're going to play when we move back. As in, we already play it now, but we're going to start up a new campaign with them, which is super exciting. And then next week, everything happens at once. Next week we're going on because it's a long weekend again, because Germany's ridiculous with how many long weekends it has in June and May. Next weekend we are going on a little road trip. We're going to Baden-Württemberg. I know for a fact we're going to Freiburg, which is exciting because I tried to go there and it failed because the hotel was locked. Ridiculous. So yeah, and we're going over to Strasbourg for a bit. And yeah, so that should be fun. And so that's the weekend that's happening in between podcasts. So that's very exciting. I think that's everything I have to tell you, really. Like I said, I've not been overly inspired with my knitting at the minute. I don't know if it's just the projects that I happen to be knitting on that just aren't inspiring me, or if it's just the mood that I'm in. I don't know if it's just because, I don't know, maybe I feel a bit sad because we're leaving, so I don't really want to do anything. I get like that when I get sad. I just kind of just want to sit and watch Netflix or YouTube and not do anything because I just feel a bit sorry for myself. But oh well. So yeah, don't forget to keep knitting kitten, for the Keep Knitting Kitten cow, for your chance to win limited edition, one-of-a-kind skein of yarn, because it's different from the other one. Feel free to, well, you've got till the 1st of July, I forgot to say that in the intro. You've got till the 1st of July, so you do still have time. Yeah. Feel free to follow me on social media if you so please, or if you so choose, I suppose I should say. And yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. Don't forget to go and vote today if you are British. You know, make the choice that's right for you. And with all that being said, I will speak to you very soon in my next video. Bye!